Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my December TBR, so the books that I plan to read over the final month of the year. I don't understand how we've got this far into the year already. Like, 1 minute it was March and then suddenly it's December. Like, where did the summer and the autumn go? Like, where did it go? Anyway, somehow we've got here and I haven't quite finished all the books I want to finish within this year. So I figure I need to take this month to just re-look at some of my previous TBRs, look at some of the books that were on them and try and make sure I finish them by the end of the year. So I have some ideas of books I'm planning to read this month. I have sort of my core TBR, which is made up of 5 books, and I want to get to these 5 books. There's 5 books here, that's definitely manageable, but these are 5 books that I will be annoyed at myself probably if I don't read. And then I have some other piles of possibilities, which if I manage to get through these 5, then I could think about reading something else. But these 5 are essential. And I know that I'm a mood reader, but dear brain, please behave yourself this month and listen to what this current version of Abby is telling you to read, because I'm addressing you right now. You will read these books. Please stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. I've got the first sort of few weeks sort of planned out. But I feel like once those few weeks are over, then it can, the very end of the year can go into full-on mood reading. So what I intend to do, I'm filming this on the 27th. Over this week, I'm traveling for work, and then I anticipate when I come back, I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I want to make sure that I read. So you see, I've got it really planned, and the thing is, this could either work really well or it's going to be an absolute disaster. So during those days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so the 1st, 2nd and 3rd, I want to make sure I read Mistborn Secret History. I'm currently finishing off Bands of Mourning. I literally have 40 pages left, so definitely going to be finished this month. But I hope to get Secret History read. So that's not the whole of this, that's a certain chunk of this. I don't even know where it is in this book. Okay. So that middle chunk there is Secret History. So I think it's 100 and something pages. So I think that should be very much manageable for that first little bit of the month. And that will get me not quite up to date because I haven't got the Lost Metal, but getting closer to being up to date with Mistborn Era 2. I do need to figure out what I'm doing with Lost Metal. I haven't put it in this TBR because I don't know when it's going to come into the library, and I don't want to buy it because all of my Mistborn books are in paperback and I refuse to have that book in hardback. So I want to get it from the library whilst I wait for the paperback's release. But currently, when I checked yesterday, my library didn't have a copy yet. So I need to see when they actually get a copy, and then I'm sure it's going to be highly sought after. So at some point, Lost Metal. But for now, I think within this year, just finishing off Bands of Mourning, Mistborn Secret History, and then I'll go from there. So I feel a little bit chaotic right now. I'm also currently reading, along with Bands of Mourning, which I'm definitely going to finish today, I'm reading Blood Mercy by Vela Roth. This is a fantasy romance, and I am 15-20% in, and I'm not sure I will finish that one by the end of November. So I'll give it a try, but I anticipate I won't read that much this week, being away with work. So that one might carry over, but hopefully again I could finish that in the beginning stages of December. But I'm really liking that, so that's positive. So hopefully I could get onto a roll with that one once I finish Bands of Mourning. I was just feeling like I needed to get Bands of Mourning finished. So then we move into the 4th of December. I don't think I've ever been so planned. And on the 4th of December, I'm going on holiday. And I'm on holiday for a week. So I have some books which I think I want to take with me. And a lot of these are in a theme of sequels. So I have A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martine, the 2nd book in the TX Clan duology. I read A Memory Called Empire a few months ago now. I've had this on a TBR ever since, and I just need to read it. There isn't any reason why I've been putting it off. I don't feel as though I've been putting it off. I just have realised now that it's been on 3 months worth of TBRs, so I need to get to this. I really like the first book. It's a political sci-fi following our main character, Mahit, actually gets introduced as this new ambassador to this planet, finding out that her predecessor has been murdered and the political circumstances and tensions that are arising on this planet. So I want to see where this ends. Other sequels. I have The Ballad of Never After. Again, this one has been on quite a few TBRs now. So this by Stephanie Garber. I read Once Upon a Broken Heart last year, and so I just want to keep up to date with this. I do think I need to read a synopsis of that first book before I dive into this, because I literally binged that book in a day and I feel as though the details are getting a little bit foggy. So if I read a synopsis, then read this second book, just so I can stay up to date with this series, and I anticipate it will be very fun and bingeable. And then the final sequel is Heart of the Sun Warrior by Su Lin Tan, the second book in the Daughter of the Moon Goddess duology. I went book shopping yesterday. I went one book shopping yesterday, which was to get this book. I had to go to like the other side of London to get this book because I wanted the sprayed edged edition. And there was like no Waterstones anywhere near me that had the sprayed edged edition. They had the standard edition. But I have a sprayed edge edition of the first one, so I needed to have the sprayed edge of the second one, just you know, for things to match, for it to look the way I wanted it to look. So I went to the other side of London, pretty much. Well, it was central London, but central and a little bit, to a lovely bookshop. But why? There weren't any bookshops near me, and there weren't like many bookshops in central London. There was like one bookshop in the whole of London that had the sprayed edge edition. Apart from like Brent Cross, but no one's going to go to Brent Cross. That's like miles away. So I was like, why? Where are these books? Like, you go onto like Waterstone's website and they're like loads in stock, but then you check the bookshops and none of them have it. Why do none of them have it? I do not know. But I went on this mission, and the mission was successful because I found it. It was almost a disaster. Like, I found one edition, but it had like loads of markings on the top here, and I was like, well, I can't buy that because that's not going to look very good. And then I found like a whole table, and I was like going through the whole table, and they're all just normal editions, and I was like, but where is the sprayed edge ones? This is very much a first world problem. I understand, very much a first world problem, but I successfully found the book, and it was a signed one, so extra successful. And I got my Black Friday double points on it, so extra successful. And so yeah, I do want to finish off this duology. I enjoyed Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which I read this month in November, and so I just want to finish off this. And when the sales assistant was checking me out, she was like, this is really good, I really like this sequel. And I was like, oh yay, I'm excited. So that's my like little sequel pile, which I'm hoping I will take away with me, and when I come back I can be like, oh, I've been so successful, I finished off all these series, or like got them up to date. And then I come back from holiday on like the 12th of December, 13th of December, and I have 2 weeks where I'm going to be at home before I go back to my parents for Christmas. And in those 2 weeks, I mean, I may be a little bit busy, but I'm going to be at home and I want to read Oathbringer. Okay, you see why I said there was a schedule. Everything's scheduled and planned. I guess those sequels, like if I don't take them with me on holiday, I could read them after Oathbringer. But you know, there's a plan here. And dear brain, you will follow it. You will stick to this plan. I then have 2 weeks. Well, maybe not quite 2 weeks, but the majority of 2 weeks where I will be here and I can read Oathbringer, and I can do it. I will do it. It will happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I will finish this book by the end of the year. It will. So hopefully I'll do it in those 2 weeks before I go back to my parents. If not, it can come back to my parents with me. I do intend to vlog it, which is why I wanted to be like at home. I didn't want to be like going off places or like reading it and then having other things getting in the way, and then like having days where I'm not reading it. And so I wanted to have like a set amount of time where I knew I was going to be at home and could read it and dedicate my time to reading this book. It will happen. This is the third book in the Cosmere. It's been like a year now since I read Words of Radiance, and I just need to get to this book. I've been planning to read this book since like April, and I have not done it, and I literally have no excuse. And I figure that if I spend that week prior to it finishing off those sequels, I'm pretty much going to be up to date with quite a few of my series. So I can go into this, and I feel as though I've got loads of other series to finish by the end of the year. I can just dedicate myself to reading Oathbringer. Okay. Those are my concrete plans. Like the concrete plans that I've made for myself, that I am ordering my brain to hopefully stick to. Brain, if you misbehave, I will be having some serious words with you. If you don't finish Oathbringer, then we're going to be in a situation. We're going to be in an argument. I'll be annoyed with my brain. I mean, I know, like, I don't have to finish it by the end of the year. I know that. Logically, I know that it doesn't matter if I read it in 2022 or if I read it in January. Like, it doesn't matter. But there is a little part of my brain which is like, Abby, it matters. You need to read Oathbringer this year. You do need to read it already. You should have read it months ago. So, and I am listening to that little part of my brain that's telling me that. That is the concrete, like, 5 books that I really do want to read in December. But then I do have like a few like options, mood reads that I could like put in. I'm definitely not limiting myself to this. This is more like a pile of possibilities of things that potentially could happen. But those 5 are like concrete. I do have a couple of books that I put on my 5-star predictions, which I made at the end of last year. And I've realised that there were 6 books on that actually. And I've read 4 of them and there were 2 that I still haven't read. So ideally I would like to read those quite quickly so that I can get my thoughts up on if those books were 5 stars, and then a new 5-star prediction video can go up. I would like to complete that. And those books were Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. I have read and really enjoyed Enchantment of Ravens and Sorcery of Thorns by her, and it's been a few years since I've read a book. I think, well, I mean, the last one was Sorcery of Thorns, and I really did enjoy them. So I would like to get to this, see what I think of it. Hopefully it's 5 stars. I don't read so much YA anymore, so I really hope this is a YA that sticks the landing for me. Another one from that list was The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. This was also on my series to start in 2022. It's got 2 counts for why I should read this. It was on my 5-star predictions and my 10 series to start. I feel as though this one I am leaning towards being one that I throw in. And then another book from my series to start in 2022, but I have not started, is The Blade Itself by Jo Abercrombie, the first book in the First Law universe. And I have the whole trilogy for this, so this one would be good to read. Part of me did think about taking all of the First Law on holiday with me and reading the whole trilogy in that week. But then I was a bit nervous about doing that, because what happens if I didn't like The Blade Itself and then I only had the rest of the books with me and I was like stuck with it and I didn't bring something else? So then I sort of scrapped that idea and put in my like sequels idea instead. But it's still on my like, I do want to read this. So there's those sort of ideas and trying to catch up with some of my like video TBRs that I've done. I mean, there's probably loads of books that have been on TBRs that I have not read, but those were, I think, the main ones that I have spoken about. I then also have a few books that Orbit has sent me for review, which are just like potentials. So if I have time, then maybe I could get to some of these arcs and give my thoughts on them. So I do have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. This actually came out already, maybe in October, maybe in November, which I believe is like a fairy tale-esque type book following a main character, Elspeth Spindle, and she has like a monster that resides inside her head. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit, and then she meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road. She is thrust into the world of shadow and deception. And I think it's a fantasy romance, lush gothic fantasy debut. I then also have 2 January arcs, so I'm still slightly ahead. Well, if I read them, I'm ahead. I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, which is following Emily Wilde, who goes to the hardscrabble village of Haraffness. Oh god, my mouth is not going to get around those letters. Haraffnesvik. And she is a like scholar and researcher of fairies, and she goes there where she comes into her academic rival, Wendell Bambleby, and they're trying to uncover the secrets of the hidden ones, the most elusive of all fairies. But I think there's going to be a bit of a romance between her and Wendell. I think this is going to be really, really cute. I then also did receive this week The Daughters of Izdihar by Hadir Elsbey. So in this, I think we're following 2 female main characters. Nahal, who is trapped in a arranged marriage with a man she doesn't love, and she dreams of attending the Weaving Academy where she can like take control of the powers that she has. Nahal's husband is actually in love with another woman called Georgina, and Georgina is our other main character, and she has a secret that she has a power as well. And her only solace is coming to meetings for the Daughters of Izdihar, a women's rights group fighting for freedom. And this is where these two characters, I guess, come together, and the two women are drawn into the web of politics, violence and threats of war as they find themselves fighting to earn and keep a lasting freedom. Egyptian-inspired world with breathtaking elements of magic and sapphic romance. And I really like Egyptian-inspired fantasy stories. I would say that, but literally, I really love the David Bad trilogy. So I'm always on the hunt for things that can fill the void of the David Bad trilogy because I love that book so much and that series so much. And I'm so excited for S.A. Chakraborty's new book coming out next year. But I do have this one, and this is another January release from Orbit. So those are my plans for December. So I have my 5 like must reads. Ordering my brain to read them will happen, and then I have like a few sort of ideas that could come in, whether that's books that I have had on previous TBRs, whether that's some arcs that I have been sent from Orbit. There is like a few ideas in there for things to help me finish off the year. As long as I finish those 5 things, I'm allowing myself to be very flexible with what I pick up. Once those 5 things are read, I can read whatever I want. I could shop my shelves and read whatever I want from my shelves. Like, I won't mind as long as those 5 books are read. I could go, oh, let's read this, and just pick up something completely at random and mood read to my heart's content once those 5 books are read. Also, if I do really like where Blood Mercy goes, then I would allow myself to like pick up the rest of that series if I so desired and see what happens in that series. But it's too early to say because I'm only 20% of the way in. There we go. There are my plans for December and the things I am hoping to read. Let me know what you are planning to read in December, if you are scrambling to try and finish off some things before the end of the year, or if you've already accomplished all of your goals and you are so far ahead of things that you are just ready for January. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye.